Well, we've just made our submission on the government bill, and it's entitled Improving Arrangements for Surrogacy Bill. Well, you may have thought that when the previous government was voted out last October that there would be less social engineering around marriage, family formation, and the indoctrination of gender ideology in schools. Unfortunately, we were all wrong. Let's check it out. So in 2022, a private member's bill, which would have liberalised the laws around surrogacy, was sponsored by Labour MP Tamati Coffey, who with his same-sex partner have a child via a gestational surrogate and egg donor. And they've now actually got 2 children. We'll come back to that. Now that bill was fortunately shelved, partly due to our submission that we made, but sadly, the new government has taken it over, made some changes which were recommended by the Law Commission, and is now seeking public submissions. Yes, a more conservative-leaning government is desperate to ram through a law making surrogacy way easier. And as evidenced by the title of the bill, Improving Arrangements for Surrogacy Bill, this new bill is predominantly about increasing access and making it easier for adults. But the question that nobody is asking is, should we be making surrogacy and sperm egg donation easier? Now, look, it's important to say from the outset, we all completely sympathise with couples who cannot have children. Fully understand why some consider going down the track of surrogacy in order to have children. However, the discussion around surrogacy tends to be focused only on the adult's rights and needs and ignores the rights and needs of the child. Children have a right to life, to their mothers and fathers, and to be born free, not bought and sold, even non-commercially. But surrogacy violates all 3 children's rights. Surrogacy routinely severs a child's relationship with his or her genetic mother and or father through the use of sperm and egg donation. It's ironic that the explanatory note to the new government bill refers to the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, UNCROC as they call it, which says a child's right from birth to know their parents and to be cared for them by them. But see, surrogacy and sperm and egg donation can go against that exact right. What's it like to find out that your true biological father's only involvement in your life was the donation of his sperm? How do you deal with the feeling of loss and rejection from your biological mother who is labelled as your surrogate or gestational carrier? Is it normal that when you see someone who resembles you, you wonder if they're related? Can you be blamed for feeling disturbed that some money may have been involved in your conception? And what if the biological parents or parent don't want any contact? You see, the identity of some donors can remain anonymous, or they may refuse contact, irrespective of what the child may want, and irrespective of what the lawmakers may hope will happen. But children have a deep longing to know who they belong to, where they come from, and who they look like. But the process leads to the commodification of children. There's this notion of renting a womb. As child advocate and expert Jennifer Lyle, the founder of the Centre for Bioethics and Culture, who spoke at our forum on the family last year, said, quote, "Women are not easy bake ovens and our children are not cupcakes," end quote. See, surrogacy, even when done altruistically, that is without payment, can objectify children and surrogate mothers and create lifelong emotional issues for both. The research shows that surrogate mothers can be at increased risk for emotional trauma and psychological burden. Deep bonds are formed between the mother and child during pregnancy, and the inability of some surrogate mothers to relinquish their babies has resulted in excruciating levels of anguish for the surrogate and in high-profile lawsuits. Oxytocin's hormonal bond, firmly established between the mother and her preborn child during gestation, is meant to be reinforced after birth by mother-to-baby physical interactions, skin-to-skin contact, eye gazing, breastfeeding. The oxytocin link not only facilitates key physiological processes in the baby's development, but also helps with the mother's postpartum recovery. It promotes bonding patterns between the mother and child and creates desire for further contact. Maternal separation, though, which is a feature of surrogacy, is a major physiological stressor for the infant, and even brief maternal deprivation can permanently alter the structure of an infant's brain. Many adoptees argue that their primal wound of maternal loss manifested as depression, abandonment, loss issues, and emotional problems throughout their lives. It hindered their attachment, bonding, psychological health, self-esteem, and future relationships. Now, there's a powerful documentary called Breeders, a subclass of women, which contains very moving stories of 4 surrogate mothers, revealing a more troubling side to this industry. And surrogacy can also endanger women's health and lives. There are various health complications with any pregnancy, but there are many additional surrogacy-specific health risks. You know, even Fertility Associates New Zealand, which does a lot of this particular area, acknowledges that, quote, there is the possibility that your surrogacy pregnancy could be more difficult or have medical complications you haven't had before, end quote. And one of the most disturbing aspects of all of this is that surrogacy can involve treating women and children as objects of commerce or trade. International experience shows that the women most at risk of being exploited in this industry are poor and vulnerable women, especially women in poor areas around the world who oftentimes agree as a result of financial incentives. Now, in New Zealand here, the government bill, which has been considered, allows for actual and reasonable expenses. But these are not defined. And they also include the cost of counselling, travel, reimbursement for lost wages or salary up to 3 months. But this does not give confidence that there will not be financial coercion, including that there are no limits set for what can be deemed reasonable costs. So surrogacy and IVF also opens the door to sex selection and the prospective designing of children. In New Zealand, you can choose a donor based on information around age of donor, ethnicity, physical features, eye colour, height, weight, education, and personality. Now, I want to show you 2 recent examples of this. The first involves 2 guys talking about how they picked an egg supplier, a little bit like they were buying a dog. Have a watch.
How we chose our beautiful egg donor.
So we wanted her to have lovely big eyes. I wanted her to have really thick hair because I've had 2 hair transplants. I wanted her to have a really wide, nice smile and just look like a kind person.
Yeah, and we wanted her to be creative because we love the arts.
Yeah.
So how it works is you join up with an egg donor agency and you literally go through thousands. That's what Stuart did.
That's what I did. I went through thousands. I shortlisted them, sent them to Francis, and let him decide.
And then I had 3 or 4 in front of me, and then we had a few Zoom calls with the ones that we liked. And then
the first egg donor let us down. Fuming!
So
Second
bad.
egg donor let us down.
Yeah.
Fuming! And then by the 3rd, we literally found her, and I was like, oh,
she's incredible. And when we got on the Zoom call, we were like, be
my
calm,
God,
play
you're
it
so
down,
beautiful.
don't be too keen. And
look.
luckily, she said yes, and this is the result.
he's looking at his hand.
Yeah, there's a lot of selection going on there, isn't there? In the other clip, and it went viral last year, a YouTuber, Shane Dawson, and his husband are in the beginning stages of buying a baby through surrogacy, and they've created 12 embryos. And they film themselves going through the results of the 12 embryos they've created through IVF. 6 for one of them and 6 for the other. And you'll hear them saying, oh, one's got 4 boys and 2 girls, and the other's got 4 girls and 2 boys. And you'll hear them say it's so weird because our babies have barcodes. And they also say that it's cheaper by the dozen baby. And one interesting statement is they say, which boy do we choose of the 6 boys? And they also make the statement, I don't like playing God. Well, it might be a bit late for that. Have a watch.
So only 2 girls. I'm gonna throw up. I'm so scared. And 4 boys.
Wow.
That's a lot of boys. Wait, that is funny. I wonder why.
Your sperm made lots of boys.
Wait.
1, 2, 3. I have 4 girls.
4 girls and 2 boys.
So we're opposite. Wow.
Right?
It's so weird too because our babies have barcodes. I mean,
I have 2 girls, you have 4, so that's 6.
yes.
I have 4 boys, you have 2, so that's 6.
Yes.
How is that even possible? That we have 6 boys and 6 girls? It's cheaper by the dozen, baby!
Okay, I'm curious though. I want to talk to our doctor and know, like, okay, of the 4 boys, which boy do we choose? You know, like,
I don't like playing God.
I don't either. But no, I'm just saying, like, I wonder if there's, like, the biopsies or the lab results tell them
We
which
have to spin
one.
the wheel and we'll put a barcode on each side.
Hilarious. Now, Katie Faust, the founder of the non-profit child rights organisation Them Before Us, and has authored the book Why We Need a Global Children's Rights Movement, commented on the video on Twitter. Katie spoke at our conference in July. And responding to the comment, "Our babies have barcodes," Katie Faust replied, "Yes, because you have made them products." And she says, because male homosexual couples are inherently sterile relationship, they must rely on 2 modern procedures to produce children: fertilisation of the egg outside the womb and the transfer of embryos into a surrogate womb. When it's used by homosexual couples to create children, the rights of these children to have a mother and a father are violated. Andrew T. Walker, a Christian ethics professor at the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary, said that this video demonstrates the consequences that have developed as a result of gay marriage. He said, "Gay marriage harms no one," they said, "except the human beings who will be denied a mother or frozen for an indeterminate amount of time. God forgive us for tampering with human nature and making children the slave of adult-centered selfishness." Now, the majority of children conceived via third-party reproduction want to know the essential parts of their own heritage. But, for example, a wealthy Australian sperm donor who has more than 24 children pleaded in 2015 to keep his identity secret because he feared his offspring would want to contact him and establish relationships. Now, the number of people conceived using a donor in New Zealand has been increasing year on year, you'll see a slight drop there in 2020 due to COVID and lockdowns, and that final year the data was still coming in. In fact, the Department of Internal Affairs in New Zealand recently celebrated the notification of the 3,000th birth of a donor-conceived child. And there's actually a documentary entitled Anonymous Father's Day, which explores the story of women and men who are the children of sperm donors. And, we should listen to their concerns. How does it impact their self-perception, the choices they make, and their view of life and the world?
I'm my biological father because he is an important part of my life. I wouldn't be here without him. I want to look in his face, or at least look at a picture of him, and I know that I'm going to see myself. I look in the mirror and I don't know who I look like.
Until I was 20 years old, the only thing I knew about my biological father was that he was blonde with blue eyes and he had a college degree.
My sister and I set out on a quest to see if we could find anything more about the man who made us and the 500 or 1,000 half-siblings that I have. I thought, wow, I'm one of the first produced by science and not sex.
Should we be conceiving children in the first place who will be deliberately denied the ability to know and be known by their father?
It's quite possible to be grateful for your life and question aspects of your conception.
I want to know that story. I want my children to know where they came from. And if I don't find them, it won't be because I didn't look for them.
Yeah. Now, in New Zealand, a donor could be a father to up to 7 families. And a sperm donor has to provide identifying information, but despite the greatest intentions of the lawmakers, there's no mandate that a donor is to be involved or will want to be involved in the child's life. It may still effectively be anonymous, except for the disclosure of their name and some of their genetic origin. An egg donor can maintain anonymity, meaning that a child may never know who their biological mother is. Now, interestingly, many countries want nothing to do with surrogacy. In 2015, the European Parliament condemned surrogacy. They said it undermines the human dignity of the woman since her body and its reproductive functions are used as a commodity, end quote. And many countries have banned surrogacy: Denmark, France, Germany, Ireland, Italy, Spain, Portugal, Bulgaria, Cambodia and Nepal. Other countries such as Britain, Sweden, Norway, Austria, the Netherlands, Switzerland have banned anonymous sperm and egg donation. But these laws are easy to get around. Now, just before I conclude, let me show you an example close to home. This is the politician who was pushing surrogacy in New Zealand. A Labour MP, Tamati Coffey, who's in a same-sex relationship. Yeah, no conflict of interest, of course. And they used an egg donor and then used a different gestational surrogate. And the surrogate has had 3 children through anonymous sperm donors. So those children will never know their biological father either. Have a watch of just a couple of clips. This is from Sunday program. And see if you can hear anything about the rights of the children.
Come a long way. Same-sex marriage is legit. There's laws against discrimination, but becoming a parent for a gay male is not easy. For starters, biology is not on this side.
Because
Correct.
between us both, we don't have the bits that it takes.
So Tamati and Tim needed to find an egg to fertilise and a surrogate to carry it.
So which comes first? The chick or the egg? Which one did come first?
The surrogate came first. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Natasha and I'm the surrogate.
There are strict rules. It takes a special person to be a surrogate.
Basically write off a year of their life so that they can carry for you. And that's a huge commitment for anybody.
It's selfless, eh?
It's really selfless.
Yeah. You tie my hair. Where's the hairbrush?
3 children from a sperm donor. Natasha's paying it forward.
Ah, pretty. Yeah. It's my one-in-a-lifetime thing I'll do. So thank you for my babies. You sing it. Baby. So someone gave me a donation and I got 3 children out of it. And it just felt wrong to carry on and not stop and give back.
Perfectly on time.
Surrogacy in New Zealand is DIY. You have to find a surrogate yourself. In this case, these 3 were introduced by a mutual friend.
Yeah, it was like the awkward date.
I was like, okay, so do I take my medical records? Like, what kind of person are they looking for?
Then we start talking about babies and...
I was like, pick me, pick me, pick me.
And actually we walked away from that.
Buzzing, eh?
Yeah.
Do you get paid for this?
No, not a single thing. So I have been saving because I'm a solo mum. I need to make sure that I can financially support my babies.
Next step was an egg donor.
Hi, my name's Danae and I'm the egg donor.
Okay, let me just show you a bit of that clip as well. Now remember, this is the biological mother speaking. Where are the rights of the child in this bit?
Do you expect to play a part in this child's life?
Not terribly. It's not my child. It's Tim and
It
Tamati's
is.
child. I expect that they will be 100% honest with the child about where it's come from.
Danae got busy producing eggs.
I can't remember the exact number, but I had something like 40-something eggs come out at once.
31 eggs.
But 14 that made it. We've got 14.
Oh, yeah.
We've got 14 in the freezer.
7 eggs fertilised by Tamati and 7 by Tim. One of those was placed into Natasha, and it grew.
Kind of just go.
One of those, so they don't know exactly who the biological father is. There's some interesting statements in the media story by the surrogate in the print media. It said this quote, this is a surrogate speaking, while she loved and nurtured the baby in the womb like any mum would, she felt that both herself and the baby knew they would be parting ways. She breastfed the baby for the first 48 hours, but unusually, after this he would not feed again, and the family instead switched him to formula. He just kind of weaned himself off me like he was ready. We have become so close. It's such an intimate process. End quote. You see, in all of this discussion, and although the media largely ignores the issue when talking about it, the rights of the child should remain paramount. Biology matters, especially to the child. Connection, whakapapa, genealogy matter. It's not a sexuality issue, it's a biological issue. In the world of surrogacy, biology discriminates. Biology discriminates in that it takes a mum and a dad, a biological male and a female, to create a child. And children have a deep desire to know their mum and dad. We should take all steps we can as a society to protect this fundamental need of every child. We should speak up for the rights of children.